Hello guys, this is Saket from Team Let's Learn. Today with us here is Tushar, who has recently cleared his interview. So congratulations Tushar for that.
Thank you so much, Saket.
Okay. So so we will be hearing your interview experience or this journey experience for our upcoming aspirants. So it might be helpful for them.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay. Then okay Tushar, tell me how did you clear your CBT and what were the materials you used?
Okay, basically, I have purchased the Dreamer package of Merchant Navy Recorded. So in that package, Pradeep Mehta sir has explained every topic like very clearly and in a very easy manner. Sometimes they have also used layman language to to clarify some doubts, which is like some extra for clearing some extraordinary doubts. Sometimes layman language is also used over there, so that makes that package quite interesting and quite balanced package it was, and it helped me a lot in clearing my CBT. I have just gone through those lectures and the PDF available on the group that we are in, that Anglo and Let's Learn group. So I have just gone with that, gone to the our testing procedure of CBT. Thereafter, it was psychology test, psychometric test. So it was nothing, but just a few hundreds of questions were asked over there. Uh, they were just like they were testing your psychology, and questions were like, would you like to stay alone, or are you a mingling type of guy? If you will die, what will your friends think of you? Something related to that. These types of questions were asked in that interview, sorry, CBT, and I cleared it thereafter.
Okay. Then after, will you give some feedback type or means for our upcoming aspirants for CBT that exactly what should be they preparing for, what material they might be using, any book or any websites or all.
Uh, Material, I would I would say that I can share the PDF also. In that, if I will be able to, yeah, I can actually point out some topics. Okay, because we know that mechanical is very vast. Like it's very big subject. Okay, it's a vast subject. But what makes us but what makes winners different from the rest is like smart study. So we have to study smart. Working hard in my point of time is a wastage of time. Instead of that, we should work smart. Just wait a second, I can share that. Yeah. So
Okay. You
yeah.
can share that in our group also
Yeah,
further.
basically, some basic concept of fluid mechanics. If in a very short form, I have to say, so some basic concept of fluid mechanics like viscosity and venturi and door nozzles and something like that. You have to study that. Pumps, you have to study pump in deep, because in interview also they are going to ask you centrifugal pump, screw pump, gear pump, and diaphragm pump, reciprocating pump, everything. Thermodynamics, you have to just study some gas laws, which we have studied in our class 11th and 12th. Thereafter, Carnot cycle, and apart from that, Otto cycle, diesel cycle, and yeah, these are the things which you have to give more focus on. Then in IC engine, from classification to lubrication system, you have to study whole IC engine in detail. Nothing is useless there in the IC engine chapter. Then air compressor, you have to have the basic knowledge of air compressor. Boilers, basically two types of boilers, smoke tube and water tube boilers. Study these boilers in very detail. Reefer system, everything is important. And similar in the case of air conditioning and reefer system are quite interrelated. If you will understand the concept of reefer system, so air conditioning will be like a piece of cake for the aspirants. And yes, if you will study this much, you will be able to clear your CBT.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
then after, how did you prepare for your interview? Did a Let's Learn group help you anything from Let's Learn?
It helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. I was when I've cleared my CBT, like I was like how I should prepare for the interview. There in group, I went to the description. There are so many PDF available. I went through that PDF. In those PDF, there were I think two or three PDF related to the Anglo questions. First I have completed those two to three PDF of all the Anglo questions. Thereafter, there was one PDF in the group related to the questions related to the IC engines, because I don't want to give even a uh, small piece of error for IC engine. So IC engine PDF were available in the group. That was for all the exam synergy and Tom Tankers and every other exam. I went through that, and after that. Reefer system and especially for the reefer system and pump, I would say that you should watch the Gyan's video on reefer system and centrifugal pump and gear pump, I guess. So that will clear your concept, and thereafter, if you have covered all these questions, so I don't think so that interview is gonna tough for you. But one thing which you have to keep in mind is like that your answers should be fluent. You should not be wobbling over there or fumbling over there. So you should be like smooth in your answers, and you should not speak wrong. If anything you don't know, just say sorry, sir. I cannot recall at the moment. Yeah, this is what I can
Okay.
say.
Okay, Tushar, then let's begin with your interview experience, and I have the sort of questions that you faced in your interview. So
Yes.
we'll do one by one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
starting with the non-technical part. So interviewer asked you the first to introduce yourself. So how did you
Yes.
introduce yourself?
So I just said, good afternoon, sir. My name is Tushar Kala, and I am from a small town of Uttarakhand called Rudraprayag, situated in the Garhwal region, basically in the Kedar Valley, at the junction of Kedar Valley and Badrinath Valley. The place which is also known at the confluence point of Badrinath and Kedarnath, and one of the Panchprayag. I have completed my schooling over from here only. With my 10th, I was having 9.2 CGPA, and in my 12th I was having a 75 percentage in my 12th. Thereafter, I have completed my mechanical engineering from Govind Development Institute of Engineering and Technology, Khurdori Pori Garhwal, with an aggregate of 72%. And I was always a tech enthusiast, so I was also a part of ATV making team, which competes in the competition like Baha and ATVC. And I was a part of the team, so I always wanted to join something which is in which tech is involved, and I love to work with technology and especially machine. So this is one of my passions, which brings me towards merchant navy, and here I am.
Okay, then after he asked you that when did you passed out and what were you doing since then?
Okay, so I just passed out in 2023 June, and I've always wanted to be. I always wanted to join merchant navy, but somehow in my last semester I was unable. I was not aware of the forms and dates. I was not linked to any groups and all. So I skipped my filling my form. Thereafter, I researched on it. I filled those form, cleared my CBT, and now here I am in front of you.
Okay, then after how many siblings do you have and what do they do?
I have one sister who is a pharmacist in ex-army contributory health scheme, and yes, that's all.
Okay, then after he asked about your college, where from
Okay,
which college?
so I have completed my BTech from Govind Vallabh Institute of Engineering and Technology, and it is a state college situated in district Pauri of Uttarakhand. From there, I have completed my bachelor's in technology.
Okay. Then after he again asked you about why merchant navy as a profession.
Oh, actually, I am from the hills. Okay, so here there is no chaos. Environment is very clean. No chaos is over here. So I can't survive uh, in the chaotic environment of our mega cities like Delhi, NCR, Bombay, Pune, or Bangalore. So much rush is going on over there, plus very polluted environment. So I always wanted to live a healthy life in a healthy atmosphere. Sea, there is very less pollution, less chaos in the sense like so many people moving here and there. There's very less chaos over there, and very and I'm always a type of person who loves adventure. I love trekking and all, so I need a big holidays for exploring mountains, for exploring other parts of the country, and these holidays I can't get in a 9 to 5 job. For this, I think merchant navy is the best suited job, and that's why I joined merchant navy. I aspired for joining merchant navy.
Okay. That was all about your non-technical part. So
Yes.
moving to the technical part, the first question comes to you was uh, working of fusible plug.
So, a fusible plug is basically a device which is temperature dependent. We can say that it is basically situated in the water tank of the in beneath the water in the boiler. So, whenever the water level deteriorates to such an extent that it is near the danger level, so that plug get exposed to the temperature to the steam, and we know that the temperature of steam is much higher than that of the water. So exposing to a higher temperature, that plug melts and all the water goes to the combustion chamber and lit off the fire, and this is how this safety device works.
Okay. Then after he asked components of VCRS.
So yes, he asked about the components of VCRS. So basic components are compressor, then condenser, reefer system coil, and dryer, thermostatic expansion valve, evaporator, uh, sensing bulb, and capillary tubes are the basic components of VCRA system. Before that, I have also explained about basically four processes take place. That is isentropic compression, isobaric heat rejection, isenthalpic expansion, and isobaric heat absorption. Then I explained about all these components.
Okay. Okay. Then after he asked you the components of diesel engine.
Yeah, so parts of diesel engine, basically I avoided those parts which might make cross question to me. So I always only mentioned some very common parts like cylinder block, piston rings, connecting rod, crankshaft, camshaft, rocker arm, turbocharger or supercharger, and governor. I mentioned turbocharger and governor because I was very confident on these two topics, and I mentioned it in last so as he might ask cross question on these topics so that I can answer those topics very fluently and clearly.
Okay. Then after the next question he asked you working of turbocharger.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have mentioned the turbocharger at end because I want him to play it in my ring. So he asked about turbocharger. So I basically say that turbocharger is basically a device which ensure that proper fresh amount of air is available for the combustion chamber. So basically, what we do is that while exhaust gas comes out of the engine, so it is collected in an exhaust manifold, and the temperature of those gases are very high. So those that high pressurized, high temperature gases are used to run a blower, which will suck fresh air from the ambient space, and that fresh air is sucked inside. But the problem with that air is that it is very hot. So we have to cool it down. So intercooler is provided over there, which cools that air, and this is how we get high pressurized and low temperature air for the combustion chamber.
Okay. Then after he asked about working of centrifugal pump.
So yes, for centrifugal pump, basically centrifugal pump is a pump which works on the rotor dynamic principle. The main components of a centrifugal pump are impeller, volute casing, suction pipe, and discharge pipe. Apart from that, suction valve and foot valve and strainers are also its component. So basically, what happens is that impeller is connected to the rotor. Rotor rotate and impeller creates a negative pressure area over there in the middle at the eye of the impeller. And since negative pressure is created, we know that the fluid will flow from the higher pressure region to the lower pressure region. Because of this, fluid start getting sucked through the suction pipe. So first of all, the fluid passes through the foot wall. Foot wall is basically a unidirectional wall which allows the flow of fluid in a single direction but restricts its flow via the same passage. Thereafter, it passes through a strainer. Strainer is basically like a filter which clears any debris or any impurities there in the bigger impurities there in the fluids that is to be sucked or pumped. So from this, the fluid goes towards the eye of the impeller, where centrifugal force via backward guided vanes is imparted on those on that fluid, and because of that centrifugal force, that fluid is sent towards the discharge side through a volute casing. And volute casing is designed in such a way that its volume increases towards the discharge side. And since our area increases or our volume increases, then our velocity decreases and our kinetic energy gets converted into pressure energy, and this is how we get a discharge pressure at the discharge point.
Okay. Then after he asked you about Bernoulli's theorem.
Yeah. So Bernoulli's theorem, I just mentioned that if a ideal and incompressible fluid uh, is flowing between 2 points, so the total energy of that fluid at point one and total energy of the fluid at the end point will be same. So this is what we is Bernoulli's theorem.
Okay. Then after he asked you about applications of Bernoulli's theorem.
I just mentioned like sir, it's while flying a plane, we needs Bernoulli's theorem, and it helps us. So I answered it very confidently. I was not knowing the second application, so I answered it that much fast and confidently. So he don't waited for me to ask to reply for the next application, and then he moved forward.
Okay. Then the next question was about Archimedes principle.
So basically, Archimedes' principle states that whenever an object is immersed in a liquid, so upward thrust act on it. That upward thrust is called buoyant force, and the value of that buoyant force will be equal to the weight of water displaced by that object.
Okay. Then after he asked about working of alternator.
So alternator is basically a device which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. It basically comprises of two parts, that is a stator and a rotor. And two types of windings are used over here, that is field winding and armature winding. Armature winding is wounded on the stator part, whereas field winding is there in the rotor part. What we do is basically we give some DC supply to the field winding so that it gets excited, and magnetic field can be induced over there. But the problem with that is the magnetic field is there induced over there, but the magnetic field is not a rotating magnetic field. So we have to provide some initial rotation to the rotor so that it can create a rotating magnetic field, and that rotation is given by some mechanical means or by some mechanical aid or mechanical shock. So that when we provide rotation to the rotor, so changing magnetic field is induced over there, because of which current started circulating in our armature winding. But we know that for charging battery we need DC current, but we are getting AC supply in the armature winding, so we used a rectifier over there which converts AC into DC, and this is how an alternator works.
Okay. Then after he asked about functions of piston ring.
Okay, so piston rings, basically the first function of piston ring is to provide a sealing between the combustion chamber and the crankcase. Second is to scrap excessive of oil that is there in the oil lining. Third is to dissipate heat from the piston to the cylinder lining. And fourth is to reduce the friction between the cylinder lining and piston.
Okay. Then did he again ask you about your final year project and some questions related to your ATV weight making?
Yeah. So final project. So what we have done is we have prepared a solar simulator, uh, which was having the flux density. to that of the real sun, uh, at the area which was near our college. We have taken the flux density reading from over there. Then we have prepared that a solar simulator, and with the help of that solar simulator, we have fabricated high density polyethylene sheets from that. So this was our final year project. So he was very convinced about that. Then he moved to our ATV. So he just basically asked what it was. We said, sir, basically what we do is we design that all-terrain vehicle on SolidWorks on our laptops. We assemble it on our, first of all, on our laptops. Then we fabricate it. Then we test it, and then finally we take participation in competitions like Baja and ADVC. And he was quite impressed from that.
Okay. Then after he asked about NDT, NDT
Yeah,
means.
no, he asked what is non-destructive testing. So basically, the type of test in which any physical harm is not done to the testing piece is what we call as non-destructive type of testing. He asked me about types. I replied him: magnetic particle testing, dye penetration test, radiographic test, ultrasonic testing, and eddy current testing. So then yeah, I answered it.
Okay. Then after he asked about hand tools used on ship.
So yes, hand tools used on ships. There are a lot of hand tools like screwdrivers, files, chisels, saw, and wrenches, or what we call as spanner. Wrenches and spanners are same. Pliers. So these are some drill. These are some of the tools which you have used.
Okay, Tushar, that was your the complete interview.
Yes.
So so thank you for joining with us and sharing your experience for our upcoming aspirants. So best wishes for your next further processes. Hope
Yes. Yes.
you clear that psychometry test again, which will be
For
yielding.
sure, brother.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.